Good morning and welcome to the EZFX trading room for October 14th, October 13th, 2016. It's Thursday. My name is Bradley Freed, and for the next 20 to 30 minutes, you'll be joining me for an update of our watch list from yesterday. As of yesterday, we were watching a New Zealand dollar buy, Euro dollar buy, dollar Swiss sell, Sing dollar sell, pound Swiss buy, pound dollar buy, Euro pound sell, and pound Aussie buy. Our new and open trades were dollar Norwegian kroner buy trend trade, Swiss yen sell, Euro yen sell, Aussie dollar sell, Aussie newsy buy, and dollar yen sell. And we've had some additional trades since then, so I'll be going through those as well. If you have any questions during the broadcast and you're watching live, we have a chat room on this page. You can post your questions and I'll answer everybody's questions at the end of the broadcast. If you're watching this recording and you have a question, you can log into our website, go to the community settings. You can send me a private message. You can post to the trading room group, or you can send me an email at ezfxsignal@gmail.com. All right, so let's go ahead and go to the charts and get started and go through our list and update the situation with each of these currency pairs and trade setups. Starting with our new and open trades, the dollar kroner. This has done pretty well. It's still trending. We do have a sell bubble showing here, so we may see some retracement downward off that bubble, or we might not, depending on the strength of the trend. But just something to be aware of. Let me go ahead and mark it. Like so. And we're getting closer and closer, little by little, to our initial profit target at the monthly pivot at 8.3229. So I'm just going to hold on to this pair. This is still open and still moving in the direction that we want it to. And we'll see if we can get there or not. Next, we had a Swiss yen sell. This hit its first profit target and rose to hit its break-even profit target, or break-even stop loss. So this trade is closed, and we were able to take 89 pips at the initial profit target. So it goes into the win column this week. Still just a real choppy week in terms of trend, especially on these yen pairs. We did get stopped out twice on the dollar yen this week, unfortunately. So I'm going to lay off these pairs for a few days and until something clear sets up again, and then we'll try to get some money out of them again. The next one is, Euro yen sell. I think this was a similar situation, except this one's still open. So unlike the Swissy, this is still in play. It hit its initial profit target. We moved the stop to break even, and it rose and fell again to touch the same monthly pivot that was the initial profit target. If it continues to fall and falls through that, we can still get to our profit extension target down at this weekly pivot at 113.4327, I think. 4527, yep. So that is still open. Aussie dollar sell. This trade hit its first profit target finally. We've been waiting for this for a couple of weeks, and it finally got us there. It was a 4-hour chart trade. It rose up again, but the stop's at break even. We've taken partial profit with a pending order here at the weekly pivot at 0.7514. And beyond this, we're going to trend follow. So that means if this falls below this and keeps trending downwards, we will hold it until we get an opposite direction Class A signal or a color change of the triangular moving average, or both. And we'll just see what happens. Next we have Aussie Newsy Buy, and that was an open trend trade, still is. It did create a Class A signal here, and it dropped about the time the Aussie dollar dropped and hit its initial profit target. It's rising again. I think it's going to challenge this supply zone again, hopefully punch through it and continue our trend trade. We've already taken partial profit on this trade. The stop is at break even. There's no risk on this, so we can be a little bit patient, see if we can get beyond our initial profit target and get to some profit extension before we close out the position. So that is still open. Dollar yen sell. Unfortunately, the sell trade stopped out up here beyond the supply zone. Did a buy trade after that. I waited for the second breakout on the above this supply zone before I got in, but then it dropped within 2 hours and hit the stop loss. So we lost 1% maximum in both directions, and we lost 50 pips on the sell. On the buy, we lost. Let me just check that real quick. Dollar yen sell was 103, so that's closed. And sometimes this pair is brilliant. Sometimes it's been like this lately. It's really choppy. So in addition to pound, the volatility of the pound, we have the volatility of the yen, which is interesting. I think there's just a ceiling on the yen right now in terms of what it will do, how strong it can get, or how weak it can get, and it has a lot to do with whether or not the dollar the dollar interest rates get raised or not after the election. And then I think we'll really see some movement on the yen pairs, probably in the weakness direction. Okay, so next, I want to talk about the things that we've added since yesterday. One of those things was a pound Swiss sell. So I looked at all of the pairs, all of the pound pairs that are setting up: pound Swiss, pound yen, pound Aussie, pound dollar, euro pound. And I don't want to trade all of these. That would be an awful lot of exposure on a single currency pair. It could suddenly, on some news event, rise up really fast and stop out. But I wanted to pick one. And the whole idea for this trade is simply we're getting into the trend. The triangular moving average direction is bearish. It confirms the direction of the trend. And we can use these supply zones as places to set stop losses and size trades. So the one with the smallest required stop loss was the pound Swiss. So I just picked that one. I'm not going to jump into all four or all five. I think that's just silly. I think you're just taking on too much risk, getting a little bit over exuberant, emotional about the potential opportunity. But I will take one, and that was this one. I think when I got in, it required about 150 pip stop, so I could trade within that parameter. So I'm only risking 1%. And I just set an initial profit target down here at the low made during the flash crash. That's 587 pips. It's big, however, I believe, and based on the direction of the trend, that this is going to revisit this low. So we'll just get in and hold on to this one. There's similar trade setups on all of these pound pairs. Again, I would advise against getting in all of them. I think you're asking for an awful lot of exposure, and you'd potentially be looking at a 5% loss or more if you're suddenly stopped out on all of them at the same time. So I'm being cautious, but I do want to have some exposure to this idea of this pair dropping and revisiting the low made during the flash crash. So we'll put pound Swiss sell, and this I did send out as a signal trade. And it's a trend trade. Remember, initially I was looking for a buy, but I've kind of decided that maybe the pound isn't going to go up anytime soon. So I'll go ahead and take a sell, and we'll use trend trading rules to manage the position. What else do we have? Let's see, we looked at Aussie Newsy, we looked at dollar yen, we looked at dollar kroner, we looked at pound Swiss. Some other things which I'm watching are the Newsy dollar, and that has hit a Class A zone here. We had the break of this trend line. It's probably still trending. I wouldn't get into this simply on the trend line break signal, especially because it kind of broke sideways. I would be more interested in this pair if we had a triangular moving average color change and perhaps a break of a more conservative trend line like this one. Then I might consider buying it and targeting these weekly pivots. But I still think this pair probably has further to go before it's going to reverse up. So I'm just going to hold and wait. But we're still looking at that, and it was on our watch list yesterday. The other one, of course, the euro dollar buy, and this looks a little bit more promising. Even if we draw a more conservative trend line, it has closed above that. We've sort of gotten a buy bubble here too. If I was to trade that, I'd be looking at this trade space here between this Class A supply zone and the current low. And looks like we have some old fibs on there. Let me make sure those are gone. And then we can target the 50% Fibonacci retracement, for example, and maybe the monthly pivot would also be acceptable. I do want to be conservative about this entry, so I would want to wait for a color change of the triangular moving average in addition to these other confirmation points before I want to trade this. I do think all these pairs perhaps have further to go down, and I just don't want to be caught in a situation where we take a signal on a light amount of confirmation and then end up losing 1% again when it's not quite ready to go. But right now it just needs a 50 pip stop, so it hasn't even gone very far, right? 50 pip stop, 99 pips or 100 pips to the first target, 198 to the second. Yeah, reasonable parameters, but I'm not quite convinced that this pair is quite ready to go up yet. So this is still on our watch list, but definitely something I'm interested in. Still, dollar Swiss sell, same kind of thing. We had a trend line break. We actually had a drop below a more conservative trend line as well. If we draw a trend line here, it's already kind of closed below that. We kind of had a sell bubble yesterday that disappeared with some repainting, but it'll probably come back. Class A zone up here. A triangular moving average color change, I'd probably give this a shot and see if we can trade it down. And let's go ahead and think about redefining our trade space. Using this move, this most recent move, from the low to the high. And then we could, if we do take this trade, the stop would go above here with targets at the weekly pivot, which just happens to be at the 50% Fibonacci retracement level. and either the monthly pivot or the weekly pivot down here that's just above the 78.6% retracement level. I do need to see some more confirmation on this before I'm willing to trade it, but it is still of interest, and it's developing. So we'll keep an eye on this, and this may be something that we take in the next 48 hours. Next, we had a dollar sing dollar sell. I was looking at this yesterday and I realized that I don't have access to this pair on FXCM, so I can't trade this. So that means I won't send out a signal. However, we can certainly talk about this trade. If you do have access to this with your broker, you're welcome to trade it when the setup does come. I was kind of looking at a potential buy trade yesterday that could still be in the offing. We did have a buy trade here that would have hit its first profit target up here. We're seeing an awful lot of class A divergence around this supply zone. I still like my current trend line. If we got a triangular moving average color change and then a close below that line, in addition to the class A zone up here and the sell bubble, which has appeared here, then we could sell this pair. I would just redefine, I'd stretch my fibs out to the most recent high at that point, and then we could look at, I think these weekly pivots make good targets. So let's go ahead and mark those. There's also the October monthly pivot right at the 78.6% level, which is kind of exciting because that'd be a really nice target to reach, and it's a pretty reliable target for profit extension, but I don't think the setup is quite ready. But I'll go ahead and mark these levels so we're on the same page when it does set up. That's a dollar sing dollar sell. Pound dollar buy, that's another one we were looking at. And these were the pound trades, right? So we kind of looked at those. I'm not necessarily against buy trades on these. I'm a little bit skeptical given the continued bad news that I don't think is going to stop from the UK. There's really nothing, there's no bottom under this Brexit thing and how far the pound is going to drop. So I'd be really wary of buying those unless we have like every single last bit of confirmation. And it's a real obvious move. And there will be relief moves along the way. I'd be more interested in letting those happen and then catching sell signals on this pair. At the present, I have a bias in that direction. We'll go ahead and keep watching those. And beyond that, what else am I looking at? Aussie Newsy, dollar kroner, pound Swiss. Just check my trades here. Yeah, those are really the four that I have open at present. And I really don't have anything new except the most promising ones are the dollar Swiss, euro dollar, and New Zealand dollar right now. And I may or may not have trades and signals on those within the next 48 hours that I'll share with you. So let's go ahead and jump over to the chat room, make sure we don't have any questions. We actually don't have anyone on live today. But if you do have any questions, as I said, you can go to the community menu on the website, go to groups, find the trading room group. You can post a question there. You can post charts. You can post anything you want. And either the group or myself will comment on your post. You can go to members. You can find me. I'm EZFX. And you can click the private message button and send me a message. I'd have a private message button like this right here on your view. Or you can always send an email to me. At EZFX. gmail.com. EZFXsignal@gmail.com. Thanks for watching. We'll have more updates in the next 48 hours as trades unfold, as we get new closes and profit targets and perhaps some new entries. And we'll be back Monday with the next Trading Room broadcast and update of our watch list. In the meantime, if you have any questions, if you have any concerns, if you have anything you need help with, please don't fail to contact me at either the aforementioned community features or at ezfxsignal.com. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.